A warm and beautiful good morning, good afternoon to all of you who are watching us from all over the world. So my name is Veronica Seban, and today I am presenting the Department of Public Relationships of Elite Global Leadership Club and the interview session with my honorable guest Farzam Kamalabadi. Farzam Kalamabadi is an honorable personality, entrepreneur, and I would love to invite him to present himself and to tell more about his mysterious journey because we meet very spontaneously, and so we landed up on the Elite Global Leadership Club platform. Welcome aboard, Honorable Farzam Kamalabadi.
First, greetings, and I always say best morning, best afternoon, because every day is better than the day before. So best morning to the audience, and greetings and best afternoon to you. My name is Farzam Kamalabadi. I am the founder and chairman of Future Trends Group. And our Future Trends Group is a very magical hybrid of for-profit, non-profit, NGO, NGO, humanitarian and finance. So we have created a unified platform with a vast influence and network and system in 150 countries plus. And we turn that into financial results, but also create wealth and distribute wealth at the same time. And we have in several modes of operations. We act in several industries across the globe.
Wow, it sounds amazing and incredibly powerful. And how are you fulfilling your mission? So whom are you aiming to serve around the world, and in what way?
Yeah. First, I believe to do small things and to do big things, they take less effort for the big things and more effort for the small things. So it's a reverse psychology. So my aim is the entire planet, to serve the destinies of humanity. Of course, we do it step by step and region by region, and then we create momentum and convergence, and then all of a sudden a critical path is created. So a critical mass and critical path. So I started by, actually, I'm a Persian, then American, but I focused on China first. For 30 plus years, I was in China, and not only did basically business, enterprise, and our own lines of action, but influenced national policies, influenced national directional strategies, and also rallied a very large number of people. I have a large following in China of 100 million people. And so I rallied my whole entire ecosystem to create the collective peaceful rise of China. And that rise is both in status and in economy and finance and in wealth generation. So that's why you see the surprise rise of China. Behind it is a lot of my strategies there.
Wow, it's amazing and incredibly inspirational. From my resources, I know that the social media in China has been blocked for the European countries and for the United States. I have been doing some research and to can see what is distinguishing China from the other markets. So
I will look at it differently. The China social media is not blocked, but it appears blocked because they have their own set and their own standards and their own system. So if you go into their own system, they don't block you. If you have a WeChat, you have a Weibo, you have a Baidu, you have many other social medias. And if it is, even you can, the equivalent of everything they have, the equivalent of even YouTube, they call Yoku. So you can say there is a border, but it is not blocking you. You have to become Sinicized, become Chinese and come in. Then it's all open for you.
Or so I think that I used the wrong term. I must say that it has been separated. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Use the right
From the
term because
global.
it
Yes.
appears as a block, but in reality, the block is because there is a divide. I call it the great invisible wall. China has always a great wall. Now there is an invisible wall. Of course, the invisible wall is also to do with the wall of mindset, system, language, and mentality. Please.
Wow, so let's unleash the mystery about the Chinese market. I am very curious to discover more about the Chinese market and what is one of the reasons that they have divided the social media platforms from all over the world. What is the difference in your opinion?
First of all, in history, Chinese were introvert. And then also in history, they lost 300 years by the global powers overpowering China. So they are developing their own domestic demand, domestic economy and domestic enterprise, domestic technologies, but they also receive from joint ventures from foreigners and they go outbound also. So I have always hoped to help China to rise and to become China the servant of the world of humanity, to service. So China can contribute to the world as much as it could be a burden too. I mean, if we help China, China will be peaceful and a source of peace and will also contribute to the world order. And if we also become very, what we call suspicious, worried, and angered, and also, so we have to create a world order that a China that is not threatening and it is not threatened, an America that is not threatening nor threatened, a Russia and a Ukraine that is neither threatening nor threatened. Sometimes when they feel threatened, they will become threatening. Sometimes they use the excuse, oh, we fear that you are now encroaching upon us, so we better take the first hand and attack. All of these are immaturities of humanity. We have to guard against and realize that nothing except oneness and unity is praiseworthy. Anything else, when different blocks are created like G20 and then the BRICS, and they're actually dividing more with each other, that is not in line with the reality of the world. We have to create a universal unity in diversity. So your spirit is, immediately before knowing me, you said you want to serve, you want to influence the world. So that's the spirit we should have, and cooperation and unity. Thank you.
Thank you so much for mentioning it. We need to educate real leaders so that they can gain the correct mindset to become a real entrepreneur and a real leader, because many people, they have lost the track. Many are thinking that there is a huge competence in the market, which is true. So what do you think, in your opinion, what is the secret to distinguish yourself in the market from the crowd?
Yeah, first of all, a whole recognition and understanding I have different than others, and I believe others will also join into that. So it is something that will become the common, normal, predominant. So I always position myself that there is no competition. There is no scarcity. And instead of anything, there's cooperation and partnership, in which case everybody wins. I don't believe in win-win. I believe in win-win-win-win-win, multi-win. And I believe a system in which nobody ends up with the short end of the stick. Everybody's benefit can be maximized. Not exactly the same level, prorated, but I always work towards that. A situation when there is a common denominator of benefit and profit and good. That means I always position myself as first independent, neutral, and supra. That means that we all have to be independent, have to wish the good of all humanity, not limited loyalties. We have to have wider and higher loyalties. Include everyone, consider the profit and benefit of the other side, in that define our own benefit and gain. In which situation we never lose actually. we gain even more, but they gain also. So it's really a mind shift and methodology shift. You have to do it at the level of individual, at the level of companies and corporation, at the level of the culture of negotiation and contract, and at the level of building nations, in fact, affecting the destinies of humanity.
I love so your methodology and your ideology that you are implementing. I am positioning myself exactly on the same way on the market. And because we met for the first time, so I would love also to tell you a bit about me. Yes, I am expert so in communication science, marketing science, and business development. And I have had a company for several years in project development and project management. And I have been active in professional networking, marketing, communication as well for 10 years. And I have been collaborating with 25 countries around the world. So the past 3 days, I was in a short chat with my mentor, Danny Balogun. So Danny has been my mentor, but as well Donald Trump. I know for many people it sounds strange, but Trump, so he was a part of this organization, ACN, yeah, and he was collaborating, he was sharing shares, stocks, yeah. And then he was coming sometimes to the head office, to the Amsterdam, Netherlands, and he was giving trainings to us. An incredibly powerful personality, a real leader. We really need such personalities like Donald Trump. Not fluff, no nonsense, straight to the point, and like concrete strategy and plan of action. And I really do believe, in real concrete strategy and plan of action that we need to implement, even here on the Elite Global Leadership Club, because that's exactly what we are doing. Implementing our strategy and helping entrepreneurs and leaders to build up relationships, sustainable and valuable relationships, and to grow from the scratch. Because how do you grow your business? So seeing the fact that you are a very, very experienced entrepreneur, business owner as well, and executor, I would love to ask your personal and professional experience. How are you building up your relationships, sustainable relationships?
Yes. First of all, I build other people's companies, and it becomes part of it, becomes my own companies. So many companies actually invest in me, give me shares. That means they give up their shares and make me the chairman. Why? Because actually I implode them, and with tons of resources for market, sales, distribution in multi-countries, global, local partners, government relations, both for endorsement, for even buyback, and for even partnerships, raising capital, branding, and then creating, annexing many assets to them, and then multiplying the sizes and the revenues of the companies and their assets. So we have an ecosystem of 50 such member companies that join us. So I will grow them, and that means my own assets, my own system grows. So that's one level, but this is at the level of corporate. Then we have at the level of government. So I call it companies, countries. So I grow the economies of countries also. That means we create strategies and implement strategies. So strategy formulation and strategy implementation, hands-on, so that the different countries and their different economic systems grow. And often I do it by convergence. So that means we take the whole nation as one corporation, and we grow them also. And I have done it successfully, quietly, behind the scenes for China. Behind the rise of China, you can call a major share of it has been myself and my policies, and that has created from a $300 billion economy a $19.3 trillion economy. And India now is $3.3 trillion. Next is India to become $25 trillion economy. My main focus now is on Africa. I call it the surprise rise of Africa. That means I have created policies, methodologies, and systems that is already galvanized and changed the trajectory of the growth of Africa. So we will hear many of the African countries quickly will grow fast in their economies, finance, and distribute the wealth, and will change the perception of the world among themselves. And they themselves will be surprising themselves too. So when I say surprise rise of Africa, first of all, it is a fast rise. 2, it is comprehensive rise. 3, the Western and global world will be surprised that, oh, Africa is now another China. In fact, will exceed China. And then they surprise themselves that we are not third world-class citizens. We are not second world-class citizens. We are first world-class citizens. And we will manifest it that way. I am teaching them what I call, not teaching, because I'm learning. So it is a mutual exchange, but bringing to the attention that wealth is not handed over. Wealth is generated. So I call it a self-generating national economy, and on an ever-increasing scale. So regenerative economy, domestic economy, on top of which we will bring more foreign direct investments. But I am basically creating a scenario where Africa will be free of foreign debt. In fact, Africa will be giver of debt. I'm working on 5 African countries to give debt to Europe. Game over, reversal. So in 2 to 3 years, you will be surprised to see what kind of progress in Africa is going to be made. Many, many African nations have now entered my program and endorsed it, and they are actually implementing it. And many other global powers also have now understood what I call it, the collective laser that I had pointed to China, now I have taken it to Africa. So when the US government leader, Janet Yellen, whom I know 24 years ago, 25 years ago, when she goes to America, to Africa, and says the trajectory of the economy and finance of Africa sets and determines the trajectory of the economy and finance of the world, it means no more Africa, no more America first, but Africa first. So in fact, at the Queen Elizabeth Hall in London with the Chancellor of the Government of England, I said the same thing, that the #1 engine of the growth of the world is Africa. #2 is India, and they too will grow up together. China will still keep a high level, but actually is shrinking in its GDP from 12, 13% to 8% to 6%, now even getting lower. But it will not really fall down. It will keep relative, and US and Europe also relative, what I call the rise of the West. Now it's time for the rise of the rest of humanity. This was my motto in the China CCTV interview with the Secretary General of Henry Kissinger. We were live, and I said that the rise of the West, now is time for the rise of the rest, and all together. We are not against anyone. We don't want an Africa that is against France or against America or against Russia or against China. In fact, include all. So an Africa that will have multiple neutral zones and allow, I created a concept, invented a concept, is again the reversal. I call it proxy peace. Proxy peace. Why we have proxy wars? Let's create proxy peaces everywhere. In the proxy peace, multi-nations and multi-companies join, and they have joint interests, and everybody benefits from. So the model is that we have to produce wealth and distribute wealth and do it for ourselves, for companies, and for societies, and for nations. And so this is the path that I am accelerating our leadership in the sense of guiding to a different model, methodology, and paradigm of all nations and all the stakeholders growing and benefiting from. At the same time, the mental and spiritual education and the mental health and the health of the societies, the health of communities comes back to the health of families and individuals.
Wow, it's very impressive. And what caught my attention is that I would love to ask you what branches and industries are you supporting specifically so that our audience can understand and maybe to approach you for your services?
Yeah. On the corporate level, we are very diverse because I have a scientific method of growing any company. Okay, and our global vast network and resources in 150 countries is very unusual, and it is not just one or two connections. It's a dot matrix, countless dot matrix that creates the macro. I use the word, I am the mega macro aggregator of myriads of micros. It is the myriads of the micros that helps companies grow in each line. But at the same time, we also will focus that these companies enter the countries and grow the economy of the countries. How do we do that? In the countries, I have two actions: consensus of the leaders, aggregation of projects. And the leaders are the head, the heart, the pillar. The head being the president, the prime minister, the chairman of the National Assembly or Parliament, sometimes the security, the heart being governor of central bank, minister of finance, and even minister of digitalization. So we create a hybrid finance, classic assets and digital assets. Pillars are the wealth generating, and they have to unleash their potentials. First, always agriculture and 70 byproducts, and then minerals and 50 byproducts, then oil and gas and 30 byproducts. All of these are under the mercantile exchanges. They have currents, development, and products and futures trading. Then besides that becomes water resources, forestry, carbon credit, and then environment. And then besides that becomes, okay, transportation and also infrastructure, all the services, and then superstructure. And all of these converge into what I call industry. Industry multiplies the value of raw materials. And beyond industry, and all of these converge to create a hybrid form of finance. So I call it converge, merge, integrate, aggregate, capitalize, monetize, digitalize, multiply, and distribute, so that the masses of the rural areas and counties and townships also rise. So I call a stable coin is not stagnant coin. So securities tokenization is stable coin, and data of the assets under the ground, data coin. Both can rise, and in between investment coins. So I have a whole modeling that fast tracks the growth of the economies of nations. And it seems that many national countries have understood and are now embracing us and endorsing, and now we are implementing with them.
It's very impressive. I have been collaborating with the European Union Parliament as well when I was facilitating project development and project management here in the European countries. I have been working with Turkey, with France as well. I have had this honor, and from where I know that there are special available funds and budgets to create projects. They are available every single year for certain or specific branch or sector. So what, because seeing so your level of knowledge and collaborationships, it's on a very high level. For what branch are funds available this year, or grants even? Because I know those experts who are working on a very, very high level, they know how to set up a project and to get funded by the government. So what is the branch of this year or 2024, because the half of 2023, it's almost gone. Then normally in the project development and management, we have to look to 2024, 2025, 7, and go so on for the next 5 years. So what branches will be financed by the governments, and what small businesses will be prioritized?
Yeah, before talking about sources of capital investing out into which industries of preference, I'll talk about what industries we are doing. So at Future Trends, we have focused on several initiatives. And we have a member company, Future Trends, called Belgian Renewable Energy Group. Has renewable energy and also water generation on a mobile container. So renewable source, water diverse source, and water diverse output. So this is, I'm like 28% shareholder and the chairman. So we have also Future Health Group. Future Health Group is a global system. Now we have 1 million registered members and also 300,000 KYC and paid members, and we are growing it to become a very large system on the ground, grassroots, what I call global sales and distribution system. And we have raised large monies on that. We have also other health company entities such as Radcard, the digital and data of the health. And also we have quite a few in different sectors, in air pollution, in environment, and the different diverse companies. I have a subsidiary member company called Vortex Systems that is a boutique version of Future Trends and works with the high-level government and also helps companies raise funds and grow their market in the countries. Future Trends does the same, but we take ownership. Companies give us ownership. In the Vortex system, we don't take ownership. So we do it in an incremental stage. So this is, we believe that the, of course, interest of the capital is in many areas, in environment, in, of course, the sustainability. I don't use the word sustainability. I call it regenerative economy and responsible integration. And also, and not only that, AI is coming up and has come up. And of course, the digital economy went through a phase of irrational hype and fell down badly. And I am myself a global leader, and I'm even advisor with FBI to how to do the digital economy correctly. I use the analogy of horizontal first, vertical second. Horizontal are operations and assets that will enhance. Vertical is like crowd financing. No, don't do crowd financing and then fall. You have to create increased value of a massive operations of multi-players, on top of which you build the benchmark of value. Then you can issue your tokens and coins. So this is a much better hybrid system and healthier way. Also, we are advised the FBI and the US government to watch over the exchanges and companies that use algorithm and bots extremely for market making. It is okay to use algorithm for research, for understanding market trends and also analysis, but not for market making. We don't want exchanges that exaggerate or projects that exaggerate. They give a promises of a white paper and from the beginning they don't want to deliver even. So they are only crowd financing. So we are a leader in creating healthy economies in various sectors and globally. In now this visit in Mozambique, where I met with two former presidents, Chissano and Guebuza, and also I met with the first advisor of the current president who was traveling, and I met with the prime minister for an hour and a half almost. And also I met with the Minister of Finance, Minister of Infrastructure, Minister of Tourism, Minister of Commerce, and also Minister of Foreign Affairs, of course, as well as the oil and gas. So we are now creating multiple initiatives with all of them, and like the hourglass. So I believe in multi-point to multi-points. That means from our global community of financiers, capital owners, as well as technologies and operations in various sectors, we bring to the various sectors of one country. It's like we are converging a laser zoom to bring to that country compounded value. First, domestically, new methodologies, modeling policies and systems so that they generate wealth. They're not waiting for others. But on top of that, when the others come, then they will be a very balanced, equitable shares. For example, in the Mozambique, the gas is 200 TCF. That's very large. In reality, the estimated is actually multiple of that. That is like the Qatar of Africa. But they only have 2 projects, one offshore, one onshore. Only 5 players. Only Total on the one hand, and also ExxonMobil on the other. Well, and also the benefit to them is very low. Only 5 to 10% the resource owner is receiving, which is very unfair. Even Oman, even PDO 40 years ago, they divided the 65% shares to the investor, but 35% shares to the resource owner. And now it's come up. So we have to help the Mozambique to have much larger number of investors in each sector, let them have healthy competition to the benefit of the destination. And so everybody will rise correctly. Balance is everything, and not uniformity. We are not communists to say everything must be exactly the same and given and taken exactly the same. It should be prorated, allow for flexibility, but nobody should be a loser. So there should be a floor for poverty and a roof for wealth. And we can always increase it and go higher, even diverge. But the point is that everybody should be winner, and we should not leave out anyone out. So this is how we converge growing companies, making revenue and income, and putting back to the nations, growing the market of the nation, the know-how of the nation, and basically, I call it mountain climbing. One hand there, one foot there, and then we will go all up. Anyway, sorry, sometimes I use analogies for easier imagery for people.
Okay, you are obviously an ideal, I can say strategist, because you are very, very, very strategic and implementing those strategies. My next question is, do you think that Africa will become the market pioneer in the business sector?
Absolutely.
And
it
why
is their
then?
high destiny, because it is the arrow kept in captivity too long. Once released, it will fly higher. 2, that Africa has actually, you can say Africa has been subsidizing the world for 3 centuries. Africa, I tell and remind my friends, you are the source. You are the giver. You're not the receiver. You're not the beggar. No need for an aid. No need, even sometimes under humanitarian guys and others. Yes, temporarily we still take the aid and humanitarian until we can replace. So, but Africa should be the giver. And so I believe Africa, for example, a Congo that has more mineral resources than almost all of the world put together, 50-50. That is 90% of all the digital economy minerals in one country. It's the wealthiest nation on earth, but its GDP is only $50-60 billion. When I sat the leaders, some mid-level minister and leaders with my Chinese business partners who are going to participate and invest and give satellite to the country. And the Chinese asked me, what's the size of the nation? I said, the richest country on earth, but unfortunately only 60 billion GDP. I said, this is the size of one of my accounts only. My whole company is $200 billion, and 60 billion is one of the company's accounts. So, wow, whole nation. But you know the history, that the whole nation of 100 million population, number 1 in wealth in minerals, was the ownership of one human being, not even a government, just one individual, one king, the king of Belgium. Well, those times are gone, but we have to help with the rise of Africa correctly. That's why I sat down with the team of President Tinubu, and I met personally several times with Shatim Kashima and my teams also, and we have given everywhere in Africa with John Mahama, our brother, with different presidents in Zimbabwe, in Malawi now, and in Mozambique now, big time, even Western Africa, Central Africa. So I believe that Africa is on the rise. In fact, I have created the whole ecosystem. I call it the karma shift, that already the trajectory has changed. So that means the buzz and the destination I have created such that the gold rush of the 21st century for everyone will be Africa. And I went personally to India, talked to many leaders of the Prime Minister's office, PMO, and many of the bureaucrats, and even sat with Sir Indresh Kumar of the RSS. So I am promoting everywhere, many places, that India and Africa must rise together. The first engine of the growth and the second engine must rise together. And so this now has becoming a movement. So I create movements. It doesn't have to do anything with me. I don't matter. It's the destinies of 1.5 billion people in Africa matter. When I help the rise of China, you can say, by my ecosystem policies mentality, raising the realm of possibilities, creating positive movement, and changing turnarounds of national policies, and of course bringing 100 projects in, and going to all the provinces, cities, 1,000 counties I visited. So when I uplifted China, 1 billion people came out of poverty. When China became a leader, Chinese overseas, they became more and more dignified in their thinking of their own identity. When China rose, so did Asia. Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, even Southeast Asia, but also even Middle East. They were all together rising. So the rise of the two Congos, the rise of Nigeria, the rise of Zimbabwe, Mozambique, all that rise will help the whole of Africa to rise. So yes, definitely business destination number one is already Africa.
Oh, that's amazing and impressive and unexpected, I think, for all over the world. I know, yeah, that there is a huge lack of leadership in Africa when it comes to manage the infrastructure, different type of resources, because we know all that Africa is an incredibly rich country in resources. Yeah, there are diamonds, gas, oil. There is anything in that country what the other countries don't have.
Exactly.
And
I always say to the
they are
leader,
missing the management. They are missing so the correct implementation strategy that should be implemented there in the country. I do have yes, some of my team members that they are from Nigeria, for example. Yeah, like they are very hard workers. From what I'm noticing, like it's missing the structure. Yeah, and I do believe that's missing.
Let me give them feedback into this. First of all, I always tell the leaders of Africa that you are richer than Saudi, Qatar, Kuwait. We are not against Saudi, Qatar, Kuwait. We want everyone to grow, but it is good for them, for their stability too. But in reality, you are, but not actualized. So Saudi has only oil, no gas. Qatar has only gas, no oil. Almost not much other things. And here you have oil, gas. Then you have diamond, gold, minerals, cobalt, lithium, even some, a lot of them have uranium, but more than that, 50% of the rubies of the world are produced by Mozambique, from Mozambique. So they have almost, you have the jungles, you have the forests, you have the water. You are already 50x richer than these other countries. You are richer, you are the same level as China. You're the same level as US and Europe. Now, although there are many challenges, we are very realistic. We are pragmatic. We are not idealists. We are idealists who walk and work practically, and practical people who never lose idealism. In fact, we close the gap between pure idealists and pure pragmatists. They are not money mongers. They can be contributors to the world. And they are not just esoteric. They can be practical. So I'm bringing these camps together. But the point is that in Africa, the challenges are solvable. It is very important to realize the culture is different. China was one nation, Africa is a continent. But China's rise helped the whole of the continent. So in Africa, the same thing. I believe that what you call management, or even sometimes culture, sometimes people call that people are more taking their self-interest, all of this can change. How will it change? When the entire what I call the realm of possibilities becomes so different, and they get excited. And when everybody gets involved, not 1 or 2 or 10 engines of economy, only like 20 billionaires that have $10 billion and others are in the poverty. But when multi-engines of growth, myriads of them get activated and they produce wealth and they start excited. I believe you don't need peace to create economy first. You first create economy and the peace will come. So when everybody is busy to making money, they will not fight with each other. So the karma will change by reverse thinking, by reverse acting, by encouragement and enthusiasm, by changing policies that makes private initiatives very active, the youth entrepreneur, but even the local wealth of the Africa can be invested in Africa and will be regional partnerships and cooperations. So we are now unlocking and unleashing the creativity of the continent of Africa. They are not only big in mineral resources under the ground, but also above the ground. There is human capital. There is a lot of good heart, good mind, and who did not believe in themselves. And then all of a sudden, I come there and I say, you are like the oil field, very large, full of energy, but I am only a little small match. You just need a match to set you on fire. But when you are on fire, you will fly higher than I would do or anyone else would do. We don't matter, you matter. And they are coming to that self-realization. So you are correct, it's infrastructure, it is management, it is even corruption or others. But all of that can change when the realm of possibility changes, when the karma changes, when the self-realization changes, and when everybody wants to do a better way that will actually make them more wealthy rather than less wealthy. So we are changing a paradigm shift in the mind and in the system, and then accentuating it. We can say reinforcing it until it catches everywhere. That's why, like the ancient time of Confucius, who went all over at the time China was divided to many nations and solicited the goodwill, I am going all over Africa. And in fact, in that matter, everywhere, creating the goodwill for the, I call it, peaceful rise of all nations. So let us do it together. Many people of goodwill have joined this movement. This, I call it at the end, the peaceful rise of China, surprise rise of China, surprise rise of Africa, surprise rise of India, surprise rise of Latin America. Of course, even back to Russia, become a different and contributing and responsible member of the world community. Why not? Every reality exists. Why all of these fightings? Why all of these blocks and blocks and blocks? All will change into a new vortex that everybody sees creativity and unleashing their own good potentials is better for everyone. And those who thought that they will be losers become winners. And why not helping others to become winners? So it is a paradigm shift. And I call it at the end, it is called the renaissance of humanity, the rebirth of humanity, the ascent of humanity. We are even changing the concept of political systems. Why should be a main party and an opposition party? Like a highway facing each other 180 degrees, no divide, collision, 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 fighting, killing. Why not all 45 degrees and 60 degrees converging one direction? The elevation of the nation, the exaltation of the nations. So I believe that leadership in the world itself will change. Now we hear news from some countries, even Venezuela leader comes to us and say they want change, they want to be different, they want to leave a better legacy. Yes, the desire to do good and the goodwill and to do contributions for your own country and for that matter, international, should become the predominant trend. What is the point of glorifying a leader that starts a war? A leader that creates a war is a losing leader. It is an incapable leader, incompetent leader. If they knew better, they would find negotiations. They would find swap of shares. They would find situations that they win even bigger time and the other side will win too. They couldn't, and they were so incapable, so unwise, that they took action by force into a war. In the future, war will become a shame on humanity. And masses of the people, even their own leader, wages war against other nations, will scold their own leader, not rally them and say, bravo, bravo, Hitler, or whoever else. We are not against anyone. We are in favor of new realization by everyone.
It's very powerful what you are mentioning, and I like your position of co-creation and cooperation in the implementation of the creative reforming. So in the different countries and governments, and I do believe that once so the reforms will be implemented, especially in the business management of the country, infrastructure as well, no matter in what country. So everything is gonna change to start, because I do believe that everything starts with the improvement of the quality of education. Like, we need to educate real leaders, and this is one of the mission of the Elite Global Leadership Club.
I love you for that. We love you for that. We met shortly, but we will do many things together. I realized your greatness and your entity, and the same thing. So yes, it is all about like mirrors reflecting each other and bringing out the good in us ourselves. You're very correct that the ability and the know-how and the methodology and modeling to raise nations is universal. The same principles apply no matter which nation. That's why now I'm going to country by country and working from the top to bottom as well as bottom to the top. Yes, it is education, and education is not just systematic technical education, but it's education of mind, as I call the new realm of possibilities, the new betterment of other modeling and methodologies. So it is all, and I believe that the countries will compete positively to excel. And again, finally, wealth is generated. Any poor country that was poor, that has become rich, they created the wealth. The wealth wasn't handed over and handed down to them. Japan, after World War II, created the wealth. China, I helped and created the wealth, and they did it, not me. I created the whole environment and policies and modeling and systems and unleashing of the mind, and I went enough all over the country that they picked it up. But it's they did it. They had a reversal that we are not pessimistic. They wrote the book Ugly Chinese, but now they have become the most beautiful Chinese. So it is this change. So not only China and Japan raised wealth by themselves, and then of course international participation, but also so did the Arab countries. Their wealth is created from either resources and better management and policies, and how they are not only the policies, it was excellence and programs that created leaders. Exactly, in the UAE and Dubai, it was rigorously presented and adopted and implemented. And other countries the same. So why not Africa? You become rich on your own merit. And why not Latin America the same? So I believe there will be a healthy competition, as India has already done it. India is already on the rise, but still $3 trillion, not enough. We are not just talking about numbers or only GDP increase, because responsible growth means the creativity of your nation must create more technologies and more solutions for environment, more healthy development, more balanced development, more taking the rural areas also up with you, and more bringing technologies and convenience to the villages, and more connecting the villages so that they can be productive without moving out of the villages, not creating a poverty belt like in the Mexico City, around the city with the hope of wealth, but then become many more slums. So there's a lot of reshuffling and shifting of the thinking about the models of growth and creating participatory models of growth. So I really appreciate you for having yourself been so great, so much in combination of practical and ideal yourself. We are from different corners of the earth. One lady, one gentleman, we didn't know each other, but it is so much wonderful synergies. We hope to spread it all over the planet, because humanity by essence is good. It's forgotten. There are only 20 blind spots in humanity. We don't discuss it. Very few problems, actually. The world thinks that humanity is filled with problems. I see the humanity is so full of solutions. Only a few handful habits and problems and blind spots have suppressed humanity. So thank you for giving the platform for me to view my views and our experience, to share it. The whole idea is for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you so much to you too. You are an excellent leader and a real role model for the society and for the humanity. And I really do believe in great reforms, in great collaborationships as well. I'm also an expert in human mind and behavior, so in neuro-linguistical psychology. And I am saying all the time, all the richnesses and resources, they are within us. So yeah, exactly. We have to look inside of us, and everything what we have inside of us, we have to give, to share with the world, to enrich the world, to support, to empower the people and the humanity. Because if we don't do that, then you will not evolve, so you will not grow as a leader. And this is so a message of reference to all the leaders, or at least to all the people who are aiming to become a real leader, be on a real mission.
Actually, what you say is called the source mentality, that we are the source. Where is the source? Source is invisible and starts from very small waters, but it becomes mighty waterfalls. So we have to be the source. And not only the leaders. No, not only the leaders. The rural areas, the village people. I come from a modest beginning of my father being illiterate until the age of 20. He studied 6th grade in 1 year, 9th grade in 1 year, 12th grade in 1 year. And in 3 years, he became a graduate. And then at the age of 22 onward, he became a doctor. I believe in every human soul has the power to change not only their own destiny, not only their village and city, but the whole continent. So I believe in the immense and limitless powers of the mind and the soul of humanity once they start believing in it. So, and create the formula of greatness wherever they are, against all odds. The whole point is that when you are the source, you don't think of the resistance or your own limitations. Forget about your own shortcomings, and greatness is going to be our joint destiny.
Yes, thank you so much. I was mentioning that my message of reference was to all the humanity in general, and to those who are aiming to specialize themselves in a specific field. And you have only to believe in yourself, because that's the strongest and powerful tool ever that you need, your confidence. And open yourself up to collaborationships. Don't limit yourself. It caught my attention, the past 5 years, while having so many global collaborationships with different types of entrepreneurs, business owners, and different type of people. Most of the people are limiting themselves because of their anxiety, because of their limiting beliefs, and for another type of reasons. It might be cultural, or because of the traditions, influence in generally of the family members. And I do believe, in the fact that we are strong enough to elevate and to upgrade, ourselves to the next level, especially the quality of our mindset, because that's what matters, to think differently. So to shift your mindset paradigm on a higher level. And then I do believe that you will be able to climb not only the mountains, you will be able to conquer the world. Thank you so much for having.
Also, the point is that our own psychology shouldn't be our own burden. We have so many blind spots. The first one being fear. And the fear is the plague of humanity. And other ones is lack of imagination or belief. Sometimes the psychology makes you tired, makes you doubt, makes you all. There's so many elements. A little bit of change, not even large change, will make the whole movement go upward fast. So thank you for believing in the sublimity or sublimeness of humanity.
Absolutely. You know, like we are the architect of our own life. We are also the creator of the quality of our life. And I do believe in greatness, despite the fact that those who are weak and are trying, at least, you know, to create obstacles, because this is happening to me very often. Despite the fact that I am a woman, I am very powerful. And I am not
despite, because you are a woman, you are powerful. We believe in the power of women.
I know, yes, this belief is based on yeah, on an ethnical background, you know, cultural background as well, because many people are thinking that a woman do not has the power, you know, probably to go so far as a man. I don't see any difference within, and I really do believe that a woman can having the same power as a man. And I am not seeing this in form of competition, but I am seeing this in form of collaboration, of mutual and or collective growth, you know, and cooperation and co-creation, because that's how it's created the world. You know, I am giving all the time an example just to be aware of the fact how beautiful is the humanity and the world. Look around you. What is surrounding you? Everything what you are seeing is created by the humanity, not by someone else. Properly, everything, every single object that you are touching with your hands is created by the humanity. The devices that we are using, the technology, all the innovations. So open your mind, open your heart, and open your soul to, you know, to enrich your own resources, because they are the wolf comes from inside of you. So you are the resources of your richnesses.
Even people may think, whoa, what about the destruction and negativities of humanity? Yes, but even that is the power of humanity. You said very interesting point, that all are created by us. So don't blame God, don't blame others, don't think others are blocking me. You find your ways to open, unleash, exercise your power, and the mind has the choice. You can either go in the lower and lower abyss, or you can go spiral way up. It's your choice. The steering wheel is in your hand. So let's not dwell on anything negativity of humanity, and unleash again the, not just the, let's say, not wishy-washy, not over-exaggerated, but the fact that goodness in human is real, and that it can be manifested, and it is a choice. And if you are bombarded by having had the experience, whether from family, parents, or prejudiced against, or lost anything, all of those negativities, let them not overpower you, overburden you. You have to come out and above all of this, because then those who preach positivity and those who have negative thoughts, they don't see it. They feel that not in my case. They feel that they have been marginalized, that somehow life has not been in their favor. To move that with a little bit of movement, to start positively, is not easy for them. We have to realize that there are many people who are suffering, and also because of our own mistakes and our own ecosystem shortcomings. Let's be also not harsh on them to feel. Now, sometimes when the task is too high, they feel overpowered. They don't know that they really have the power to overcome all those challenges. So those of us who are positive, let us not be a test to them. Let them find their own ways and we guide and encourage. I believe greatness is not in great initiatives or in mega, 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 big, big, big. In a small, tiny attitude around us, kindness here, invisible gentleness, encouragement. At any rate, our life can affect so many souls if we don't judge and we are not overpowering. So soft power of feminine is really the building. So I believe that women have actually more power than men because of the history, that the men were hunters and outside and forced, but the builders and the inside. So let's don't have a competition, as you said. I believe the equality of men and women is actually for protection of men, not for protection of women. Women are rising faster than men, so men will be following behind. So let's talk about equality so we protect the men species. No, I'm joking anyway, but the point is that
yeah, I don't see a difference. Like I mentioned it, I see only the way how can we empower each other, how we can support each other, how we can collaborate, for example, together, to support, to empower the humanity. And regarding the negative, because I really like to talk about that topic, and I will explain why. Many people maybe they will avoid this topic, but I want to bring it to the table because negativity, it's talking about lack of knowledge. And if the people is procrastinating, maybe they are going through a very, very difficult period of time in their life. There is also very often a lack of unclarity. When someone is procrastinating, they are in a period of making choices. And what many of the people don't understand even themselves, why they are acting in that way. Yes, so
very correct. Because
like all, yes, and all these emotions, they are raising, they are bursting out in form of anxiety or being angry or being hypersensitive, or like they are manifesting themselves in different forms of emotions. And if we could be more kind, if we should, in my opinion, we should show more compassion, more empathy, towards each another, because you never know what is the situation, of the person who is in front of you.
Exactly.
And maybe they are not even daring, to share it with you. There are different type of situations in life. Again, based on the culture, traditions, maybe they are affected by the society or country where they are living in.
You're right.
And it's difficult. It's not always as easy as it seems, because it's easy to talk and it's much more.
So ultimately, it's very deep down to possess a kindly, radiant, and compassionate heart. And that will manifest a little bit, a very tiny bit of what I call purity of motive, a little bit of kindness, and a little bit seed of belief can really become a mighty wave and can really affect so many multitudes around. So I believe in the small power of goodness that can become a mighty force. So let's encourage each other and actually in action help each other. So we create business for what? We are living here for 100 years for what? There is a task given from the time we were born. So I have a saying, since the day I was born onward, I need nothing. All has been provided. So let's see who others in their path have challenged. So thank you for drawing out the best in us, because you, as the interviewer who is selfless, you have a lot of contributions in your own mind and heart, and you started sharing, and but you are giving the space more to us. So I really appreciate you and what you are doing, and I wish that your program, your initiatives, your organization also will grow in its soft service to the world.
Thank you so
very
much. Likewise, I really appreciate you as well, and the fact that you have taken the time to share your contribution to our growth as well and to the growth of the humanity. Before we are closing our very powerful interview, I want to mention that Elite Global Leadership Club is on a mission to empower and to educate the humanity and the people who are struggling with to get more visibility and to build up sustainable and healthy relationships through positivity and through peace and education. Yeah, Elite Global Leadership Club stands for awareness, peace, integration as well, and collective growth. So don't seek competition, only collaboration and growth, because that's the way how we can grow massively. That's the way how we can create impact around the world. Thank you so much again. So it has been a huge honor to having you on my stage. And I am also looking forward to the next step and collaboration. Have a wonderful and blessed day.
Wonderful last messages you gave. I will remember them. Wonderful last messages you summarized. And blessings to your organization, the Elite Leadership, Global Elite Leadership, and your iconic creation of leaders of the future in the true sense of leadership. Humility, service, and also guiding and changing and uplifting. Thank you very much for your work.
You are welcome. Thank you too.